Common Repair Channel. Right now we're on the way to a store. We just left the dental office where we troubleshot a compressor problem. This is a really interesting one, and I wanted to share with you the process of what we encountered and a little bit of information about it. The compressor was giving a really weird noise when it started. It's an Airstar 22, and when we turned the compressor on, or when it was cycling between 80 and 115, the motor hesitated and it hummed for about 1 to 2 seconds, and then it eventually started turning on and pumping up. But watching the compressor, there was a little bit faster than usual air, just air discharge from the tank. And looking into it a little bit further, and with the help of Air Techniques, we were able to troubleshoot it to a faulty check valve. And this check valve is the component that isolates the pump from the tank. And when that check valve fails, it causes the heads to never be unloaded or vented. And then when the pump goes to turn on, it's got pressure against it, which makes it harder for the motor to turn. So right now, what I wanted to fill you in on is we're going to this really awesome store. It's here local in Michigan. It's called Plymouth Rubber and Transmission. And this is an amazing store because they've literally got every plumbing fitting that you could possibly want. And whether you're a dental staff member involved in repairs or a technician, knowing where you can obtain fittings is super important, because this is what's going to give you power to repair your equipment. And especially for compressors, when it's just moving air around, there's not a lot that's really fancy with that. It's all usually brass fittings, and you just need to make sure that the fittings are rated at appropriate pressure, which for air compressors is around 120. So we're going to go ahead and go to this store. We're going to obtain the part, and I don't know if we'll shoot a video inside the store, probably not, but when we come back out of the store, we'll go ahead and show you what we bought, and at least we'll go ahead and show you what we were able to obtain. And this is a pretty important part of what we do that I want to share with you.
Time to time travel.
There we are. Look at that, dude. He didn't even charge me for the union.
Nice.
I'll add out my credit card number.
Oh, yeah. All right, the guys at Plymouth Rubber and Transmission hooked us up. We got our check valve, we got our union, and Jason got a sick new joke.
Hey, if you're being attacked by a mob of clowns, always go for the juggler.
Boom.
Hey, Calvin. Who has the fresh meats? Caps! Alright guys, here we are. This is our Airstar 22. This is the compressor that's having a problem. We will actually witness the problem here first. So we are right at about 80 pounds of pressure. And right up here, when this turns on, just pay attention to the sound. You're going to hear a hum, and then after that hum, you're going to hear it go. hear how it went and then it started moving. So that tells me that here on the line, basically the way this compressor head works is it's pulling in air from the atmosphere right here. It's compressing the air and it's putting out high pressure air on this braided hose. The braided hose comes down here, up around here. This is a moisture exchanger, or a air cooler. This is like a radiator on a car. There's a fan in here that's pulling air across a coil, and then the air comes out the bottom here, and it goes into this. It's called a membrane dryer. It goes in one side, that dries the air, and then it comes back out the other side, and that's the point where it comes right down here through a check valve, and then actually into the tank. Now, the direction of flow goes like that, and the check valve is designed to basically stop the flow, or stop the air right here in the tank. But what's happening is that the check valve is leaking, which means the air is flowing backwards through here, and it's actually leaking out the bottom of the membrane dryer. And it's doing that all the time. So the problem is when this pumps up, the actual demand, instead of the demand on the system being towards the patient, which is on this black hose right here, this is the operatory, it's actually bleeding air backwards through here. So what should be stopping, it's not. And so what happened was we went and we got the parts and we came back to the operatory office, but they're very busy. Now, because the compressor is what drives all the hand pieces, we can't shut them down right now. But I want to tell you that this is exactly why this service matters. This compressor drives all the hand pieces. If we were to let this go and this thing fails unexpectedly, I mean, that's going to wreck their entire schedule. They cannot practice dentistry without the compressor. So paying attention to your compressor and what the different noises are, or having a technician come in and actually be around it, we were actually here for something entirely different. And we gave them a courtesy compressor check, and that's when we found this critical issue. So what we did was we scheduled for tomorrow morning to come back here and to replace this part. And so I'll see you again tomorrow morning when we come back and we actually fix this compressor up. It's pretty interesting when you go to a dental office for one thing and then you end up finding something different. For the job that we were just on, we actually troubleshot an issue that we couldn't solve at the moment because we didn't have the right parts. So it took us probably about 15 minutes to kind of get there. But, you know, as technicians, we went ahead and did a little bit of an extra check for the compressor. And, I mean, what do you think about that, Calvin? I mean, how do you view those type of checks?
I mean, it's kind of like when you go to the doctor's office. It's like, why not get your blood pressure checked? It's going to take no more time. You're already there. It's not going to hurt, and it could save your life. Like, go check the compressor, and all you got to do is listen. You hear one little weird sound, you're potentially saving the dental office practice a whole day's worth of patients just because you went and did a little extra check that took 2 minutes of your time.
I think there's a lot of times what I found is that it's the small details, the small little signals that there's a bigger problem going to happen. And I think that's really that is the heart of what we do. We try and take, like a good technician is going to take very small symptoms and be able to kind of piece those together into potentially large-scale problems that will happen if nothing is done. And, you know, one thing that I found, though, with regard to dentistry is that there's a lot of how I relate to customers that dentists relate to patients. I hear these conversations all the time. And, you know, you've really got, you know, 3 options. You can, you know, go with a high-end repair. You can go with a low-end repair. Maybe you can even go with a moderate repair. Maybe that's the 3rd one. But then the 4th option that you have is you can always do nothing. But if you're only ever doing nothing, the equipment is in control at that point. And as somebody who owns equipment, I always want my customers to be in control. You never want to have the equipment be in control of your situation, and that's why checking things like this out matter. But that seemed like something worth bringing up.
For sure.
It is the next day, and we are here ready to do the replacement of our check valve, and we will be replacing the check valve on this compressor. As a refresher, basically the compressor is compressing air through this line, through this air cooling, this air cooler, and then it is going from the air cooler to your membrane dryer, and then from the membrane dryer it's coming over here through a check valve to the tank. Check valve's leaking, which is causing pressure to be constantly on the head and having it hum. So it shouldn't take very long. The first thing I'm going to do is disconnect this black hose right here. This is a pressure fitting, and we can kind of hear that leak in there. All right. Okay. So you can actually hear that leaking there. All right. Man, that is pretty tough there. All right, this is. Oh my goodness. Wasn't expecting that to be that hard. All right, so jar it a little bit. There we go. Oh my gosh. Things on there. I guess I should probably get that bottom one off too. Now I usually roll with crescent wrenches, just because they make it a little bit easier to have the tools you need. All right. All right. Go. So there's that. Now, take off that guy. Now, we want to get this guy off. All right, so that's the check valve. Basically, the air is going to flow in through that poppet. It pushes that open, and then comes here, and it's sealed. So there's some sort of a problem in there where it's not sealing correctly. Now this is our new check valve. This is a little bit different, but on an air compressor, I think the performance of a check valve is about standard across the board. So this is probably a nicer check valve than the one that's in there. Alright, so when I'm putting this tape on, I'm actually turning the fitting like I'm tightening it. And the reason you do that with this pipe tape is so that the pipe tape lays down. Alright, I'm going to do the same thing. Turn it like you're tightening it. Do both sides. Like so. Alright, now that we've got the old check valve off, we're going to go ahead and get the new check valve prepped. The direction of airflow is going to be that direction. So we will go ahead and put the fitting on the top here. And so what we're looking for is, this is the same direction. So this arrow says the flow is going up, and this one here, the flow is also going up. And then we'll also put some tape on this guy. So and that will go on the bottom there. Okay, good, and good. Now we'll use the tank to back that as we turn it on. All right, now we'll tighten that nipple first. Okay. Like so, and we'll tighten this guy. Okay, nice and tight. And then we'll tighten that guy. So, alright. Then we'll put that guy. That's a press fit. Make sure that's in there nice and tight, which it is. Right? So, the other thing, now that we've got this part done, so that is complete. While I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and do a preventive maintenance on this compressor. I'm going to use a RPI compressor kit. I don't think these filters have been done recently. And while we're in here, I don't know if you can kind of see how dirty this thing is. We're going to do a preventive maintenance to it. So the way to do that is you pull these filters out. Alright, and the filters, they accumulate dirt on the inside. So we'll put the new one on there. And then you just kind of push down and rotate at the same time. Sometimes you need a little bit of moisture on them to get them seated correctly. I still see a little bit of red in there, but just keep turning it until that red goes away. So see how that is? That's a well installed filter. Now I'll pull this one off. It's almost like there should be some sort of something to pry those off. So there's that filter. This is an RPI C&K 065 air filter. Alright, so I'll take it. Stick it right on there. Okay. Good. And then these are little sound mufflers. They make the compressor quieter and louder. So what we'll do is I'll show you kind of what sound they make. Actually about $100 each. They're pretty expensive for a piece of rubber plastic. Alright, so those two are done. Now, let's see here. Done that part of the PM. Now over here, this is a membrane dryer. On the top here, there's a cap and the filter. Okay, this is the top membrane dryer filter element. It just shoves them straight. So we'll grab that element out of the kit. And there's an O-ring that goes on the lid, so we'll switch that out. And RPI gives these little stickers with the part numbers. It's kind of a handy thing. Put it on there. Really like using RPI parts. They're very high quality parts, and I find that they save. They like will redesign parts based on issues they see with, you know, where they can make it better. And they also deal with companies like mine, which is nice. Okay, now this next one is right down here. There's a filter bowl, and this filter bowl, unscrew that filter bowl. Okay, and this is where water goes until it fills up a float, and then when it fills up the float, the water will come out the bottom. So I usually find like a floor drain, and then we'll just dump that down the floor drain. Okay, so we'll set that off to the side. Now down in here, this is a little bit hard to see. That's the filter. Now what we're gonna do is this one, you just gotta push up and do kind of a quarter turn and then pull down. And in this filter, if you can kind of see, it's pretty gray. It's also gray on the inside. Don't know how well you can see that. By comparison, we'll set this other filter up. And this is the part of the filter that, you know, separates out the water. Now there's another O-ring. Maybe you can see that better. Okay. So that's the old and the versus the new. Okay, that's where we changed that. So that's the old one. Now there's also a there's an O-ring right here, and so what I'll do is move my fingers, take that O-ring off, put the new O-ring on. Now this O-ring, there's like a little groove, and it's really important to get that O-ring set right in that groove. Okay, just right where it should be. If it gets into the threads, it won't seal right, and that can be a problem. So now the new filter, what you do is you take it and you push it up, you kind of lightly rotate it until you feel it kind of find its, let's see here, until it finds its home in there. Now this is the tougher of the two filters to replace. So I'm going to shove that up and then rotate it, okay, until it finds its, okay, that's secured. All right, that's pretty much what you're going for, that quarter turn, and then tug down, and as long as it doesn't come out, you're good. All right, now this bowl will go back. Now there is an upgrade through Air Techniques on this bowl, but on this particular situation, I'm just going to put the bowl back that's there. RPI's kit does not come with the bowl. Now this is important. When you put this back on, you're looking for like no gap right here, okay? If you put it on and it's cross-threaded, or there's like a gap like that, it will leak and it won't work right. So you want to make sure that you tighten it until it's nice and good there, okay? So those are the 4 filters. Those ones. Okay, so that's pretty much what we did. We changed out the check valve, and then we did our filters. Okay, and these little pieces don't get used. Those are extra, something that RPI sends in case you ever like a remote air intake. So that's our little pile of extra stuff there. These are the C and KO65. Those are those filaments that we put right, or the elements we put up right there. You can put those somewhere right here. And then one of the things that I've done, and some of you, I don't know, we made a PM sticker for my business. So this way, if there's ever a problem with the compressor, they've got our phone number to call, and we'll put these on equipment that we work on, and we'll also put the due date on it. One of the recommendations that we'll make for customers as well is to create a patient for their critical items like their air compressor and vacuum, things that need routine maintenance, and we'll have them create a patient, so like Mr. Air Compressor, and then they can do a scheduled appointment every year for this patient, and that will help them keep track of their maintenance. They'll get like an appointment kick out, and they'll be like, oh, what's this? And then they'll be like, oh, we need to maintain the compressor. So that's just something you can recommend. So right now, now that we're done, we're ready to, you know what? This filter here needs to be taken care of. This is a little coalescing filter that's pretty dirty. I'm gonna go get another one of those, and I will be right back. All right, and this is the that filter. So this is RPI's CME 083. As you can tell, that needed to be done. So we'll take this filter, put it on just like that, and then we'll come down here and then screw it in. And then they've got an O-ring here around the bowl. And again, you just take your fingers and take that old O-ring off. And here's a new O-ring. Just like so. Now those are our 3 O-rings. I think it's a good idea to take those O-rings and put them in a little baggie or some sort of a maybe even like a hand piece sterilization pouch, and then put them on the unit. So like if you ever have a cut O-ring, the old ones can bail you out one day. So now we're just gonna put that up in there, shove it up, quarter turn, and we're good. Now we're ready to test the air compressor. And the way that we're going to do that is we will take our timer and our stopwatch. All right, now we're going to go ahead and check the performance of the air compressor. We're going to go ahead and turn back on the switch here, and we will turn on the unit here by the circuit breaker, and we'll hit start. We will check the gauge, make sure the gauge is going to come up. Alright, so it's starting to move. There we go. So that guy turned off. Now I hear venting here, like I would expect. Okay. Now, so we're at 252. So now what we'll do is we will take this back down. We're at around just over 115. We'll go ahead and take this down, and I'm going to use this, the loud technique. Pretty loud. Alright, and then from that. Okay. Reset that. Alright guys, so we're back, and I'm just going to go over quickly how I do my cleaning of my compressors. I always use a vacuum so that I don't blow as opposed to compressed air. The vacuum, I think, does a better job of capturing everything, and pretty much I just use one of these Auric vacuums and a rag and then a paintbrush. And so actually, I usually do it on other ones. I haven't done it on this one yet, but I use electrical tape so we don't have any conductive surfaces, and so we'll just wrap that bad lead up. We won't short out against anything while I'm using it for cleaning. All right. Alright, so plug in our vacuum somewhere. And there's a free outlet right down here. Plug him in. I think these Auric vacuums are the best. Alright, so now I'll just go ahead and work from the top to the bottom. Push all the higher areas first. I'll try to get all the way around all the different spots on it. So I'd say vacuuming is kind of step one. Just all that dust. Because I think all that dust is what pretty much would break free anyways and get sucked in the filters. So go ahead and hit all these spots. Get that guy down in there wherever it'll fit. Now, I don't know, some techs don't really spend a lot of time doing this step. I personally, I do it because, you know, sometimes cleaning is the only thing that a staff can tell that you did. You know, they can't tell if you changed any filters. They can't see, you know, anything else you did with the unit, but they can see if it's dirty. And I think this is a pretty important step. You know, you can't be doing this important maintenance and then, you know, leave a real dirty unit. You know, I think it just kind of like maybe getting a car wash after when you get your oil changed. So that's what I do. I pretty much take all the most obvious areas like that, and then with the brush, I'll take this off, and I use that brush to kind of get in there maybe hit areas that are a little bit tougher to get. That right there, I would say is fairly clean. And then if you want to do just one more step, take your rag, get it wet with some water. Okay. And then I do like a little just extra wipe to wet that. Everything nice and with that extra fun like this. All right, and that is what that's what a compressor looks like after we do it. Alright, that's how it should look. So this is Jason from the Demo Corner Repair Channel. Thanks for joining me and for sticking along as we maintain and repair this compressor. Alright, so awesome. So we got our times, and we're going to compare those to what's in the book. I will post that in the video. Now, the next thing I want to kind of to check here is I want to pay close attention to what the unit does when it starts. And what I'll do is I will post I will kind of post another clip here after we do this with the failed state, and I might do that a couple times, and then that way you can kind of see the difference. Alright, so I'm gonna bleed it down. Okay, now we'll just kind of watch how it starts when it kicks on. Now, remember how before there was like a really loud, like there was a hum and it stalled out? Now watch this. I'm gonna release pressure to the building very slowly, and we're looking for a real snappy start. thing that I need to do is come in here with a vacuum cleaner and to go ahead and clean the compressor. I'll probably do one more follow-up video with once that's accomplished. Now I want to note, it is taking a little bit longer to pressurize because it is actually pressurizing the whole system instead of just the tank. That's one reason why when you do your timing checks, you want to do that with the valves in the off position, because then you have a controlled amount of volume you're trying to pressurize. Alright. Only thing left to do is clean her up. Alright guys, so we're back, and I'm just going to go over quickly how I do my cleaning of my compressors. I always use a vacuum so that I don't blow as opposed to compressed air. The vacuum, I think, does a better job of capturing everything, and pretty much I just use one of these Auric vacuums and a rag and then a paintbrush. And so actually I usually do it on other ones. I haven't done it on this one yet, but I use electrical tape so we don't have any conductive surfaces, and so we'll just wrap that bad lead up. We won't short out against anything while I'm using it for cleaning. Alright, so plug in our vacuum somewhere. And there's a free outlet right down here. Plug him in. I think these Auric vacuums are the best. Alright, so now I'll just go ahead and work from the top to the bottom. Push all the higher areas first. I'll try to get all the way around all the different spots on it. So I'd say vacuuming is kind of step one. Just all that dust. Because I think all that dust is what pretty much would break free anyways and get sucked in the filters. So go ahead and hit all these spots. Get that guy down in there wherever it'll fit. Now, I don't know, some techs don't really spend a lot of time doing this step. I personally, I do it because, you know, sometimes cleaning is the only thing that a staff can tell that you did. You know, they can't tell if you changed any filters. They can't see, you know, anything else you did with the unit, but they can see if it's dirty. And I think this is a pretty important step. You know, you can't be doing this important maintenance and then, you know, leave a real dirty unit. You know, I think it just kind of like maybe getting a car wash after when you get your oil changed. So that's what I do. I pretty much take all the most obvious areas like that, and then with the brush, I'll take this off, and I use that brush to kind of get in there, maybe hit areas that are a little bit tougher to get. right there, I would say is fairly clean. And then if you want to do just one more step, take your rag, get it wet with some water. Okay. And I do like a little just extra wipe to wet that. Mix everything nice and with that extra front like this. All right, and that is that's what the compressor looks like after we do it. All right, that's how it should look. So this is Jason from the Demo Corner Repair Channel. Thanks for joining me and for sticking along as we maintain and repair this compressor.